Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Honest Hour. Wow, that was it's kind of underwhelming. Yeah, let's go live. Let's do it. We've got a lot of social presence tonight. We're going live. Matt Guf's Facebook. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Honest Studios. Come up on front, fill up the front. We still have 6 seats up front, and I'd like to see them all filled. Brendan, I know you like the front seats. Caitlin, oh yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, two other friends.
Guys, welcome to Honest Studios, and I believe this is the 5th rendition of the Honest Hour. How fun is that? Wow. Every week we have such a great time. I'm so glad that some of you keep coming back and that some of you are here for the very first time. If you don't know who we are Honest Media, is the creative agency that puts on this space, Honest Studios. And Honest Studios, you really have to see it as a resource for the city. So we're a bit of a co-working brand. We have people who have full-time desks and memberships here. We have part-time memberships available. Obviously, we're an event space. You know, we are the home of Santa in the Canoe, as you've heard about, I'm sure. And we have a photo studio. We have a lot of different things. Sometimes I even call this the Swiss Army knife of spaces. So you can tweak that. I myself am Joel, and I'm the manager here. I'm wearing snow goggles because it's gonna get 0 degrees tonight, and I am freaking out. I'm not originally from here. And I heard that something about snowboarding might be happening tonight. I'm not really sure why, but I decided that I wanted you guys to know that I'm legit. I got the Oakley snowboard goggles with the crack in the center from the failed backflip attempt, okay? So I'm legit, all right? Now, Honest Hour is meant to provide a platform for change-making entrepreneurs. It is meant to bring the city together and also just to have a good time and to inspire people to see a behind-the-scenes look into change-making entrepreneurs in the city. We have only 2 Honest Hours left, so we're coming down to the end as Christmas comes. But we have some really exciting people. Okay, now, there is 4 segments to the Honest Hour. All of them are broken up into 12 minutes, which will be proudly displayed here on the iMac. And the first segment is tidbits and trivia. We're just gonna have a nice little interview style. Second segment is take the stage, as you see this big round red stage. And then the third segment is rapid fire honest minute, where we have people reacting to pertinent topics of our time. The 4th section is where you guys get involved and where you need to activate your brain space to ask questions that will pull out the behind-the-scenes look into these change-making entrepreneurs. So you guys ready to get started? Yeah. Come on, get up, ready? Now, as you know, we have a very special host. And to introduce this host, we know that he is all a talented designer. He's the founding director of Honest Media. He's the father of 5 and a friend to many. He's the missionary and the mercenary. He's smart, he's stylish. He's a pioneer, he's a community planter. He's the world traveler, he's the adventurer, he's the Instagram influencer and entrepreneur. He's the hot sauce connoisseur. And he's the proud new owner of Great New Balances. I'm talking about the one, the only, Jeremy Bardwell. Give it up!
That song is called Whipped Cream. Hey. Just get your head bobbing a little bit. Here, keep it going for a second. Just hold, yeah. You know, that's it. That's the song of confidence. Anyways, I didn't get to choose the song that I walked out to. But what do you guys think about Joel's glasses over here? Powerful. Oh my goodness. Hey, well, thank you so much for coming tonight to the 5th, am I right?
Yeah.
The 5th Honest Hour. We've been going for, this is our 5th week, and we have had amazing change-making entrepreneurs join us to be a resource for you, aspiring entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, and that this space could be a resource for you that you're just going like, dang, like you're getting an inside look into these experienced entrepreneurs' lives. And I just really think like you can like go to like johncmaxwell.com and learn everything, you know, or
Tony Robbins.
you know, and like
Do the gold standard class.
and it's, you know, like $15, but then it only does just enough to get you to want to buy like the $65 one, you know. Whoa, that seems like a real value add to my life, buddy. Oh man, except for it's making you all the value, you know. And so, like, we don't want this to be that. This isn't canned. It's just meant to be raw and real and an inside look. And so you'll probably get that feel throughout the night. But again, thank you for coming. And how many of you in here are wanting to start a business or at some time in your life want to start your own venture? Go ahead and raise your hand. Everybody look around just 1 second. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Look at that.
Oh.
I love it. It's like 80% of the people in here. And so that's really cool. And I want to tell you that all of the trends are in your favor. Okay? Hey, there you go. So we have the rise of the gig economy. We have obviously the internet. Have you guys heard of this? It's incredible. Alta Vista, Netscape, anybody? Okay. Juno? All right. Habakkuk3@hotmail.com. That was my high school. Yeah, okay, guys. That's a lot to handle. There's a lot there, a lot of substance. So, anyways, we're so thankful you're here, and I hope you get a lot from tonight. And so, tonight's guest is an amazing man. And I've gotten to spend some awesome time with him, and I leave so just encouraged and stoked. Everybody say stoked. Stoked. And now can you just say it with a little bit more stoked too? Just like stoked. We're so stoked. Okay, and so we have tonight, and he is from thehouse.com. How many of you guys have ever bought like a snowboard from thehouse.com or heard of this? It is one of the, I believe, in the top 5, if not 3, largest online snowboard retail sites in the world. And just like an OG, they were one of the first ones to sell snowboards on the internet. Whoa. And he's also the owner of Vision Elite and Thrash Camp. This man is the real deal. And he's so much the real deal that we're going to cue some powerful inspirational music and then invite him to come out.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Bill.
Everything that's inflexible and everything that's not ready, everything that's backwards and everything that's negative and everything that's condescending and everything that's carnal and everything that's holding me back, I refuse to take it over into another year and waste another new year with an old mind. The devil is a lie. I will rejoice.
Everybody, Matt Guf to the stage. Everybody give it up for Matt Gustafson. Testing 1, 2, test.
Check.
Checking.
Wow.
Bro, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for
For
having
the
me.
Honest Hour.
Honestly.
Seriously. No joke. I've never heard that joke even one time.
Not once.
Never.
That's impressive.
Yeah, you know, we have honest media, so everybody's always like, bro, tell me the truth. It's like, yeah, no, I know. I get it. But dude, seriously, we're so stoked to have you. And so guys, check this out. So I just met Matt just like a couple weeks ago, and bro, so he was like, Jeremy, where are you from? And I was like, well, I'm not from here, but I've lived a lot on the West Coast, Washington, Hawaii, a couple different places, Alaska. And he goes, no way. He's like, my sister lives in Alaska. And I was just like, oh, cool. There's a lot of people that live in Alaska. Not that many, but, a few. And so I was like, whereabouts does she live? I used to live up there. And he's like, oh, probably would never know because it was just this random, like really remote spot. He's like, it's called St. Lawrence Island. And I'm just like, no way. Like, St. Lawrence Island, my wife has been there. And he's like, yeah, it's on Savunga. She fell in love with this guy who lives in this village up there, and they got married and have a family. And I know one white girl who has moved to St. Lawrence Island. And I said, dude, are you talking about Melanie? And both of us just like fell out in the moment. Boom! It was an explosion of glory, and we were down for the count.
Yeah, I fell over. I fell over. I was laying on top of the chair.
You did literally fall over. That is not just hype. But I also did bring a graphic. I'm taking so much time, but that is just, okay. So, this is Alaska. You guys see that in the back there? Okay, the red island is St. Lawrence Island, where his sister lives with her family. And so incredible. And my wife and I did a training school in Hawaii with Melanie in 2005. And my beautiful wife is here for the first time in 5 weeks for this. That's it. Natalie Barlow. But let's just jump right into this interview. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay. So, your last name is Gus Tafson.
Gus Tafson.
Gus Tafson.
Swedish.
But, okay. But everybody calls you Guf.
Yes.
But it should be technically Gus.
Yes.
How did that happen?
All right, so my grandfather, my great-grandfather, his name was Ollie, sweet name for someone who grew up skateboarding. My grandfather's name was Delmore, but everyone called him Gus. And then everyone called my dad Gus, so I was next in line. Of course, pretty much everyone called me Gus when I was growing up. And in like 9th grade, one of my friends, Garrett Rasmussen, was trying to say Gus, but Guff came out. And it kind of just stuck from there. So everyone who I know before 9th grade still calls me Gus for the most part. And then everyone after 9th grade calls me Guff. So if you hear someone say, hey Gus, I've known them for a really long time.
Whoa, that's awesome.
It's pretty great.
Well, okay, and so you work for thehouse.com.
.com.
And not only do you just like work for a snowboard, like OG snowboard retailer, but you yourself are an avid snowboarder. And I heard even that you're in like 100 days of boarding.
Yes, the season just kicked off, and I think I'm on day 9. I think I'm on day 9 of 100. Day 9. I'm on day 9 of 100. I have a long way to go, but I'm gonna make it to 100 days on snow this year.
Okay.
For sure.
And like you're missing being on the snow
I know.
tonight for this.
I almost didn't come.
Okay, well, I understand. Wow.
It's important.
So how young did you start snowboarding? Give us a little bit of your journey.
Right. I first started snowboarding. I first stood up on a sled in my cousin's backyard when I was like 10. And then I rented a snowboard, actually the red snowboard on display. That's a 1992, 1993 Burton Air 5.1. That's one of the first snowboards I ever rented. And so right around then, that's when I first started. And then in the 93, 94 season, that's when my mom bought me a snowboard for my birthday. And I've been pretty much going, 4 or 5 days a week since then.
Oh my word, that is so epic. Okay, so I'm imagining, how many of you in here have snowboarded before?
Yeah!
Any skiers? Hey, a couple of us. Hey, right on. Okay. So if someone in the audience was going to save up to take a huge snowboard trip, that's what it says here in the notes. Huge. So that means like this is going to be like a once-in-a-lifetime snowboard trip. Anywhere in the world, where would you suggest they go for kind of just that life-altering, mind-numbing experience?
It'd be Zermatt, Switzerland.
Okay.
Yeah, Zermatt because you fly into Zurich and then there's no road really into Zermatt. You have to take a train. So you go through all these mountain tunnels and passes, and then the city of Zermatt is it's along this river that runs through the middle of town. And there's no cars there. There's like little little trucks and things, but you walk everywhere. And that's where the Matterhorn is, like one of the most beautiful mountains in the world, just big crests. So it's not Switzerland for sure.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dude, I gotta go there sometime.
You should, we'll go.
Let's go together.
Yes.
See that?
Let's go.
That's how you do it. You get him up front, ask him in front of everybody, doesn't want to make it awkward, and locked it in. Okay. That's it. Nice. Zoom on Switzerland.
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah. Okay. So you also have a nonprofit and another business. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my wife and I and another business partner, we kind of saw a need for competitive snowboard programs in Minnesota. So we started a competitive athletics training program that trains snowboarders to be competitive riders, and it's called Vision Elite. And this year will be its 6th season or so. And then the other side of that is a little feeder program called Thrash Camp.
Sick.
And that's sick. It's weekend snowboard camps for kids that are
Thrash
outside.
camp.
Thrash Camp. It's outside the spectrum of ski resort lessons. There's a lot of ski resort partnerships that we have, and they don't really cater to the kind of riders that we kind of build up. So that's what that is. Vision Elite and Thrash Camp.
Dang, dude. So you've been training and coaching for quite some time doing these thrash camps. How many different resorts are they at this point?
Well, I think last year and the season before we had like 7 resort partnerships. We do a Colorado camp. We'll do one out in like Loon Mountain, but for the most part we're here in the metro area. So there's Wild Mountain, Trollhagen, Afton House, Buck Hill, Highland Hills. Those are the main ones, and then Andy's Tower Hills. Yeah, that's right. That's what's up.
Can you explain to me what this word thrashed actually means?
Thrashed. I think a thrash. That's a good one. Thrashed is when something is like ridden hard. You know, like you have like a rail or a tree stump or something. You can thrash a rail. That's what I would say. Yeah, it's pretty good. Ha.
That's awesome. How about, okay, we're gonna go into some snowboard terminology. Okay, everybody say, wow, that's cool. Okay, how about a jerry?
Yes.
What is a jerry?
A jerry.
Besides, maybe I would qualify.
Maybe. I don't know. There's a couple of different like hierarchies in snowboarders from groms to gapers, posers, jerrys, kind of fall in there. A jerry is someone who's kind of a kook. And a kook is someone who doesn't really know what they're doing, but the difference between a jerry and a kook is a jerry sends it. So the jerry doesn't know what they're really doing. You know, they see a jump like, I'm gonna hit that, but they have no idea how fast they should go. So, you know, like either they'll come up really short and get double ejected, or they'll like land in the basement, like in another town. Like that's a jerry.
That's epic. Can we all just yell at the top of our lungs, send it on 3 together? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Send it!
That's right.
Come on.
First sound effect was good.
Are those fogging up? Are those goggles fogging right now?
Yeah, because the crack, you know.
Oh yeah. We gotta get you outfitted.
I know a guy.
How many ski lodges have you slept on the floor of?
A lot. All of them. No, really a lot. Jeff Bull's right here. Jeff and I used to run the United States of America Snowboard Association's Frozen Chosen Point Series. There's a point series where we travel around, we judge kids, and we went to Great Bear Park in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This is one of the most memorable.
Whoa, that's
Sioux
it.
Falls knows what's up.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes, that's it.
Yeah, there was one time we got there. We helped the train park managers like build some of the course, and we didn't really have a place to stay. So they were like, yeah, go ahead. Like you can stay in our ski patrol area. And we were like, okay. They had couches in the lounge. And I think we all fell asleep with our boots on, but we didn't know. They turned the heat off when they closed the chalet. So we woke up in the middle of the morning like freezing with our boots still on. It was bad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was bad.
That is crazy. So bro, last question for you in this segment is,
That's it?
well, I mean, yeah, I guess not. I can't
Oh,
see
no.
the clock from here. So I've got
This question, we skipped that.
What is it like to be so tall and good looking with your manly features? else notice that? Like when you just saw me, you're like, yeah, that's a man right there. You're like 8 inches taller than me. And shoulders broader than me.
I don't know. I didn't know it was gonna be this tall. My dad's like 6 feet. Both of my grandfathers were like 5'6". I have no idea why I'm this size. My great grandfather was a pretty big dude, but I don't fit into stuff, you know. I don't fit into stuff. No, my dad's 6. Both of my grandfathers were about 5, 6, 7.
Okay, right on.
Yeah. Feels good, I guess.
Well, I ran into a few of your fans. How many of you guys out there, this man right here has played a key part in your life through coaching in snowboarding? Look at this. I love this. That's so sick.
What's up, guys? Thanks for being.
So, could you just share a little bit with us about mentorship and what that means to you? And yeah, I mean, these dudes literally come here just to still be involved in your life.
Yeah.
So there's something going on more than a snowboard coach.
Oh yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your passion for coaching.
Yeah, I think coaching is probably the best thing that I will ever do in my life. You know, I have a soft heart and I get emotional when I talk about things that really matter. So, I'm gonna take a second.
Well, that's it. It's on sour. You just
No,
embrace it.
really. It's cool to see these guys, right? Let's do this. I'm gonna go. We have 2 minutes. I'm gonna talk about each one of the kids that are here. Bo Jennings, successful guy right now. When Bo started riding, I don't think Bo's confidence was as high as his riding was, but he's a damn good rider. Brady Lim in the back, pro snowboarder, gets paid to snowboard. Yeah, buddy. I don't remember this, but he shared something with me a long time ago, and it was basically like, Guf, do you remember when you said to me that if you want to be a pro snowboarder, you could be? And I don't remember saying that to him, but he took it to heart and he took it home. He travels the world in shreds. Cole Solner. I traveled with this kid last year. We did a whole tour. He did the what's called the U.S. Revolution Tour. Probably one of the most technical, advanced young guys that come out of Minnesota right now. Cody Carlson, I've known this kid since he was 10 years old. He used to be part of the Frozen Chosen Points series, and he still rides and he still participates in some of the stuff that we do. He just broke his arm shredding. And then Braden Dickey. Braden Dickey is one of the guys that I first started coaching in 2000 for an organization called the Community Olympic Development Program and the National Sports Center. We've stayed in touch just forever. And why do I say coaching is the best thing in the world? It's because I get to see these people grow up and become men and the people that they're destined to be. It's awesome. It's the best.
That's it. That's so it, bro. That's so it. Well, let's give it up for Matt for this first section.
That was the first. Oh man, now I'm gonna talk.
Dude, this is it.
Is there any way someone could get me another water, like lukewarm water? Thanks.
This is fun, dudes. You guys good?
Yes, I'm having fun. Yeah.
Right on.
Cool.
You guys know there's this R2D2 coffee machine back there that just it has this wonderful screen and it's coffee beans literally pouring down just into some sort of a bin of coffee beans, but so centrally, just amazing. And then the coffee just comes out and it's just wow. And it's free. Did I just say sensual coffee? Good Lord, what is happening right now? Why am I mentioning this? I just want you all to be comfortable, okay? So if you want to use the epic visual coffee machine maker, that is in the back for you, my friends. It also makes chai, okay? Okay? Okay. Well, dudes, this next section, okay? This next section is a powerful time. And it's a 12-minute segment. And how many of you guys saw this red stage right here that we literally made out of a dinner table? And this red stage, our passion as a team is to cut away the fat, cut away the fluff, and really get to the core of a matter. To the raw, to the uncut. What do you really need me to know? I don't want to have things expounded on. I want things reduced to the core and the potent. And so we made this stage to symbolize that moment of just like the raw and the uncut. And so, Matt, we are so stoked that you are here, and we'd like to invite you to take the stage.
Thank you.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. It feels good to be here, you know? It feels good to stand on the stage. You know, there's like certain points in your life where you get to where you're at and you know that you're supposed to be there. Have you guys ever experienced any of that? Where like you get somewhere and you go, damn, like I made it. I'm doing things. Like life is good. That's what this feels like right now, really. And I have no cards. Yeah, it really does feel like I'm supposed to be here. And as you guys can probably see how I interact and talk on this red stage is I'm really passionate, I'm really driven, and I believe in myself. Usually anything that I do, if I put my effort into it, I try to do my absolute best, usually. It's kind of wild to think that when I was a kid growing up, I wanted to be a snowboard industry guy, and here I am. You know, I'm a snowboard industry guy, kind of doing this and that. And the choices that I made growing up 10 years ago, 5 years ago, were the choices that my future self would have made at that time to become the person that I am. So, like right now, I'm trying to make the choices of the person that I want to be would make, so I can get there a little bit quicker. You know, so that's a challenging thing to do. It's like, there's like basically two different types of snowboarders. And I'm gonna talk about snowboarding a lot today and this and that. And you know, of course, the goal at the end of this talk is hopefully you can take some of these principles I talk about away and apply it to your life, your business, and whatever it is you happen to do. But first, you know, of course, well, secondly, thank you guys for having me, of course.
Yeah.
Jeremy and Joel, everyone that's here, all these riders, colleagues, friends, and yeah, the whole camera crew from the house is here, so thanks everyone for coming. My personal mission and philosophy in life is to provide an opportunity for people to become their best selves, become their utmost, their highest in every aspect, from snowboarding to work to just whatever it is. If I see someone, I see that they have potential, I do my best to let them know that and say, you're doing a damn good job, keep it up. I want everyone to stand up real quick, please, if you're not standing. Somber, why are you guys so somber? How do you guys feel? Okay, life is loud, right? I feel life should be loud. Sometimes it's okay to be quiet, but sometimes it feels really good to be loud. I want you guys to yell on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! You guys can sit down.
So it.
You know, like, when was the last time you yelled like that? When was the last time you felt something inside? You know, I think that's the way that life should be lived. It should be lived loud. You should feel it in yourself, and it should, like, expand out of you.
Come on.
Kind of like a yell.
Come on, bro.
There's I'd say there's kind of two different kinds of snowboarders. One that gets to the top of the hill and straps in and just kind of lets gravity and the slope take them wherever it is they take them. And then the other snowboarder straps in and goes on an adventure, goes through the woods, goes through the trees, goes through the groomers in the park, and then they get to the lift that they intend up going to get back to the top and do another adventure. And you can look at those two types of snowboarders like you can look at people in their lives. Some people just let life happen to them. They just do life. And others have an intention and they make a life.
Come on. That's so good. That's so good.
So the question is, like, what are you doing now today to make your life what you want to be?
That's it.
You know, what are you asking yourself? What choices are you making? Are you making choices based on the person that you are, the person that you were, or the person that you want to be?
Come on. That's good, bro.
You know, kind of growing up and coaching snowboarding, one thing I got really good at is visualization. Any good snowboarder is a great visualizer. They can see something, they can imagine themselves doing a trick before they actually do it. That's what makes really good snowboarders. And even before, or when I was writing this speech, I started with the end in mind. I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. But I imagined everyone at the end of this standing up and clapping and being amped and like taking something home. So I'm excited for all you guys to stand up at the end of this and be juiced. But with that really being said, it's like you have to begin with the end in mind. You have to know really where you want to go. Like the snowboarder who doesn't really know where they go, they just kind of go around. But the snowboarder who knows where they want to go gets to where they're really going. You have to begin with the end in mind. There's a guy I used to coach named Brian Robin, and he was in one of my first groups with Brady and Dickey over here. And when I was recruited to coach on the Community Olympic Development Program through the National Sports Center, Brian was one of my guys. He was probably like, how old are you guys, 9, 10?
I was 14. So
Okay, he was a lot younger than
11?
me. Yeah, he was. I think he was like 9-ish, maybe
No.
10.
He was a little older than that, I thought. Maybe.
We worked with him for about 8 years. Yeah, anyway. One thing that made Brian so great was that he was able to have a long-term outcome goal. He knew where he wanted to be, and on a seasonal basis, on a monthly, on a weekly, a daily, and almost every run, we worked on short-term process goals to get him to where he wanted to be, and he worked hard. Now, we worked through a lot of different books as I kind of coached him through the years, and one of the books that really stands out is Thinking Body, Dancing Mind, an awesome sports psych and kind of like life book. I read a lot, and I encourage you guys to read if you can. But anyway, so Brian was competing on a regional level, and then made it to a national level, and then into the Grand Prix, and eventually was invited to a contest called the Trofeo Topolino, and there's a big trophy over there, and that was kind of from one of those events. And Brian qualified for the USASA All-American team, and it was a big deal for him to be there. And we get to this World Championship event. It's like a week long. We do a couple days of contest, or a couple days of practice. He qualifies. He makes it into finals, and then on the day of his finals, he has 2 runs. In most snowboard contests, you have 2 runs. The best of 2 counts as your score. So Brian is standing on top of like an international event with hundreds of people around competing from every single country that can snowboard. And Brian, before he drops, he wants to take his jacket off. And as he's doing that in the start gate before he goes for his first run, he gets tangled up, and the start referee is like yelling at him in Italian because it's a timely event. There's lots of people there like, oh, you gotta go, in Italian. And he gets kind of like kiltered off balance, like emotionally, internally, and he ends up dropping. And I knew right away that it was not going to be the best run of his life. And he went and he fell, and he came back up the pipe. He hiked in, and emotionally he was just falling apart. And we get up. I try to bring him to center as much as I can, and Brian did a really good job at visualization, so he kind of did his own thing. And before he went to drop in his second run, and he actually ended up winning the contest with his second run, which was great. But I know this is a little bit of a long drawn-out story, but it gets into this last thing. Before the formal awards ceremony, we're back at the team condo. Brian's getting ready, and Brian's a skate kid. He wears skate shoes, jeans, hoodies, and beanie. That's kind of just who he is. He comes out of the bathroom. He's wearing shiny shoes. He's wearing dress slacks, his shirt tucked in, his hair done. And I say, Brian, that's a new look for you. What's going on? And he looks me dead in the eyes and he says, Guf, these are my podium clothes. I came here to win. Sure, and that kind of hit me pretty hard because like all those years, those 8 years of working with this kid who gradually became a man, instilling those positive things in his life and helping him with visualization and physical cues and working so many different aspects, he was able to really believe in himself, make the choices that his future self would make, and end up where he originally set out to end up. It's pretty remarkable.
Come on, dude.
Okay. That's right. I've got a couple more things. I think a lot of times, like we we as people, when we start businesses and we work in life, we kind of forget to focus on the basics. And in snowboarding, when I coaches, there's this thing called a Terry triangle. You guys know who Terry Hawkinson is?
Yeah.
You should. Yeah, there we go. Terry is like one of the greatest snowboarders in the world. And the reason that he's one of the greatest snowboarders in the world is because his basics are dialed. At the bottom of his pyramid, his triangle, his basics are solidified. His flexion extension movements, his upper body, lower body separation, his rotation, his tilt, twist, pivot, and flex of the snowboard, he can manipulate in any way. Those are the basics. And with business and with life, sometimes you can see things that you want to strive for. You know, you want to reach for these things. You want to buy new laptops for your company. You want to buy your company card and do this and that. But sometimes you forget about what's most important. So with your organizations and what you're doing in your life, you may try to reach for the stars sometimes, and that's good. But you have to remember to focus on your basics.
Come on.
There's an awesome book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Highly suggest reading that. It's basically about not necessarily not caring about things, but really choosing to focus on what's most important. And I think the basics is the most important. Another great thing to think about is accelerating your strengths as you're growing. When I work with riders, sometimes I'll ask them, what do you want to work on? What makes you feel good? And with that, if you work on your strengths, you work on what you're good at, it'll bring your weaknesses up. But if sometimes you work on the things that you don't want to work on, your weaknesses, you just kind of get lost a little bit, and your weaknesses won't actually grow as much as if you work on your strengths and gradually bring your weaknesses up. And it's kind of the same thing with staffing. And like your mom's a teacher, right? Yep. And I've talked with a lot of teachers about that too. It's like, what kind of students do you focus on? Do you focus on the best students or the worst students? Usually you focus on the best students because it gives them, they're the light for the rest of the students who aren't doing good. And that's why it's important to have a mentor. Does anyone have a mentor here? There we go, a couple. Yes. Does anyone mentor anybody? Yes. Yep. I think it's a good thing. You have to kind of get into that circle and sphere. You have to be a mentor and have a mentor. And with that is wise counsel. Who's ever had unwise counsel? Yeah, lots of it, right? And it's kind of hard to see. You don't know because you look up to someone and go, okay, cool, I'll try that. And it's a disaster. Be careful with counsel. Yeah, when I was a snowboard coach at a camp called Windell Summer Snowboard Camps. It's in Oregon. And I was working alongside a guest pro coach, and one of his kids asked him, can you teach me how to do a frontside rodeo? And the coach said, yeah, for sure. And he said, just do this. Just go down the hill and then just take your arm and just throw it up. And the kid did. He went down, he just kind of threw his arm up and he was just nah. And he landed on his back, and luckily the snow was soft. But that was unwise counsel. So I asked the coach, can I help you? Can I help the kid? And he said yes, and we walked through the basics, like vertical and horizontal axis, longitudinal axis, and how to combine those into the lower left quadrant. And after a couple runs, he was able to get it. He landed it, and that was wise counsel. But along with unwise counsel is trusting your intuition. Has anyone ever not listened to your intuition? Yeah, how does that feel? Yeah, pretty bad. I think intuition is like that primal thing that could lead into greatness or not, of course. But I think sometimes intuition will just be a whisper and we don't listen to it. And sometimes it'll yell. I was working with a girl named Coco Cook. You guys know who Coco Cook is? She's an old, really great snowboarder. We were at a big air contest. There's a double face jump. And Coco had been hitting this 40-foot jump. So the length of the jump is determined from the very last part of the takeoff and the start of where the landing is. It's from the lip to the knuckle. That was a 40-foot jump. And she had been hitting that jump, and she wanted to hit the 60-footer. So she asked me, Guf, can I hit the other jump? And right away, inside said, don't let her hit that jump. And I said, well, take a couple more runs and let me think about it. And I thought about, and I checked the facts. She had hit jumps bigger than the 60-footer. She had hit jumps of a similar shape, similar nature. Her board was running good. She was in good mental state. She had the capabilities to do it. All the facts checked out. And she came back up after a couple runs and said, Guf, yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this. And I said, okay, go. And she went, and she jumped. And usually where the pinnacle of a trick is, you're supposed to be about halfway between the lip and the knuckle. she was halfway between the takeoff and the landing. So when she started like tilting backwards and drifting like this, I knew it was gonna be bad. So I ran down there and she hit, she knocked herself out, she got a stage 2 concussion, and luckily nothing else. But that was like the first time that intuition really said, hey, pay attention to me. And when you're following your advisors or you're following your mentors, remember to follow your intuition. Listen to that instinct, because 9 out of 10 times it's gonna be right. And then kind of lastly is being able to be pliable in life, being able to be pliable with business. Like you could create a business plan, and then, if you're rigid, you want to be somewhere, but you're not able to like navigate the terrain like a snowboarder, you're gonna have a hard time doing it. When riders create snowboard runs, generally for contests, like you have your set tricks that you do on the jumps, and then on the features, and actually down to it where you actually know what edge you're gonna land on into the next feature. And if you're not paying attention to the conditions and things of that sort, you can get a little lost and try tricks that you shouldn't be doing. And you have to be pliable with like trying new things. Don't be so rigid with your businesses. If you're too rigid, you probably won't get to where you originally set out to do. And again, that is beginning with the end in mind. But you have to know it's not always a straight line. You have to navigate the terrain. Woo. So, if you believe in yourself, you begin with the end in mind, focus on the basics, accelerate your strengths, have wise counsel, trust intuition, and be pliable, you will succeed. All right. Now, so here's another thing too. And I have something about an encouragement and then a challenge. My wife is amazing. She couldn't be here. She's on business. And the wonderful thing about Sarah is that she literally sees the best in me. I don't know how. She's so out of my league. I got so and she really sees the best in me. And I encourage you to do that to others as well. See the best in other people. Help other people see the potential that they don't know they have, because every single one of you, I know every single one of you, is destined for something great. You have to pass that on to other people too. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Perfect.
Yay.
Bro, I love that part about the basics. That is so true.
Yeah, focus on the basics.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. God, that felt long. Did that feel long up there? No. All right.
That was right in the
You're
pocket.
being nice.
That was right in the pocket.
I like the way my voice sounds right now. It's like raspy.
Can we go? Can you give us your points one more time? Just like point.
Yeah. Points. Believe in yourself. Begin with the end in mind. Focus on the basics. Accelerate your strengths. Have wise counsel. Trust intuition. And be pliable.
Boom.
How many is that?
That's it. No, I love that. And I think all of us in here, we want to not be Jerry's, but we want to send it. Send it. And send it with wise counsel. And, how many of you guys in there are like, life without risk is kind of boring? Anybody?
Yeah.
This is the room of risk. I feel that. I know you entrepreneurs out there. And so I just thank you, bro, for what you shared tonight. It was so encouraging, because the metaphor of everything you're talking about with snowboarding is so applicable to the life of an entrepreneur. And yeah, dude, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it. Just give a high five to somebody in the crowd, all right? Just turn it. High five. Okay. So this next section is called the Honest Minute.
Let's go.
The Honest Minute is 8 rapid-fire topics for Guf to react to. 1 minute will be on the time clock for a quick and uncut first reaction and best advice. How many of you guys like advice, right? Yeah. We're all here. We want this to be practical. We want these nights to be helpful, or we'll cancel them, okay? I mean, they're fun. They're fun, but I've got kids at home, and you got stuff to do, right? We want these nights to be practical and helpful, and just
So first impression, and then what?
First impression, and best advice.
Boom.
So he has not seen these topics. Okay?
Yeah.
And after 1 minute, this sound effect will play. Note the Mario theme, so it's pretty good, huh? Thank you, tech guy.
Thanks, tech guy.
Whoa! Okay, first topic, mentorship.
It's one of the most important pieces in you becoming who you want to be. I think mentors call you out on the stuff that you're not doing good in your life. Some of the hardest conversations I've had with my mentors, because they look right through the bullshit that I have and say, that's not who you are, make a better decision.
Come on. Okay, The Power of Positivity.
Great book. It's a book.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a great book.
I should read it.
Yeah, you should. You should. Power of positivity is everything. There's a U.S. Sports psych guy who also trains on the U.S. or the Red Bull crazy people, or the Red Bull athletes, and he also says that one negative thing would drop your level down 2 notches, and positivity is only one. So negativity has more of an impact on individuals than a positive thing does. Think positively all the time.
Ooh.
All the time. Cody broke his arm. He has sweet metal in his collarbone now. That's awesome.
That's it.
It's not me. Not maybe.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, how about books?
Read them. The books that you should read are Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, written in 1911. Who's read that? I got 4 people here. Everyone needs to read that. Think Body Dancing Mind is a great one. The Mountain by Rick Joyner slays.
The Mountain.
Is it The Mountain?
The Final Quest.
The Final Quest. Read that book. That slays, right? Yeah, reading is important. Like, if you go on to like post-secondary education, like you gotta just read. Like, how else are you gonna learn how to do stuff? Read books. Read fiction too. I read a lot of non-fiction.
Okay.
Read fiction. Read stories.
That's it.
That's it.
Cars.
Go fast. I have one. My wife bought me a car for our wedding gift that was tight. She bought me a 1980 MGB LE. It's a 4-speed banger. Black. Convertible. Jenny and I have the same car. Yeah, we're buddies. Yeah, cars are sick. My dad's a car guy.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad's a car guy. So I'm a car guy.
I love that.
Me too. I don't know how to work on it though. That's a problem. I don't know how to work on stuff.
We're really putting Tech Guy through the paces apparently.
Sorry, bud. Are you
Shorter or longer?
Well, I got adjusted back to a minute, homie, and I'm just like, I don't even know what's happening over there. I'm just like, who knows what time is it even? Is it like 10 p.m.? I don't know.
Whoa!
He's water.
You just did that for yourself? Okay. Next topic. Tech Guy, are we ready?
I'm ready. 1:07. We give you an extra 7 seconds this time.
Thanks.
You're gonna need the extra 7 seconds for this topic. Money.
Cash moves everything around me.
Yes.
Get the money down to the bills, y'all. Money, man. Money is important, but you need to figure out how to navigate it and budget yourself. I've learned a lot about personal finances lately, and if you don't pay attention to where your money goes, your money's just gonna drift away. Yeah, have a savings account. Invest in the future. Have 3 to 12 months like saved for in case of an emergency, and start investing in it. That's what I say to do with money. I don't do the best job, but I've learned a damn lot about it.
That's good.
Money.
Money. Am I waiting for the reset?
Yeah, you are. You're a fast talker, Matt. Come on.
My best advice on money.
Oh, no.
Shave it down.
Next. Community.
Community. You should start the community. You should start the community. Like, hold hold your candlestick up and say, I'm gonna start something, come join me. A lot of people look for things to do, but there's not very many people that say, hey, I'm doing something, come join.
Come on.
Whoa, I love
Whoa.
that. Okay, next is, where is snowboarding going?
God, garbage. Just kidding. I'm so kidding. Where's snowboarding going? I don't even know. Snowboarding is going a lot of places right now. Competitive snowboarding is so not accessible to kids anymore, which is kind of difficult. I think the realest thing that's happening in snowboarding is in the streets. Like, I think people that are like doing street snowboarding like skateboarders do. I think that's what's real. It's accessible. Like, kids can buy a shitty snowboard from a Goodwill and go down the hill at the park. I think snowboarding is coming back to that. Like, as lift ticket prices go up to $150, $200 a day, like, it's so inaccessible for people to do that.
And you were just saying even like the level of competition is like so insane that it's like you almost have to like invest just like hundreds of thousands of dollars in like the right coaches, the right this, the right that, to even kind of get there.
Right, yeah, if you want to be a competitive snowboarder now, it's like, in the competitive arenas, when we do like the Grand Prix circuit, the Revolution Tour, Burton Global Open, or the Blue Open, Dew Tour, it's like the features are so big, you really can't contend by living here in Minnesota now. You could 5 years ago, but now it's literally impossible because the size of the features that are hill sizes just aren't big enough to host that size of jump. So yeah, if you want to be a competitive snowboarder, you're spending no less than 50 grand a year traveling around. If you have a coach, entry fees, blah, 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 like 50K, 20 at the bottom, maybe.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, last question in this segment is Minneapolis 2019.
Ooh, I think Minneapolis 2019 is going to be a good thing because like there's things like this happening and popping up all over the city. You know, there's communities, people like you who are sticking their hands up going, hey, we're doing something, come follow us. And I kind of see this kind of throughout, whether it be like kickball leagues and funny things like that, or vintage snowboard trader groups that, you know, I'm a part of. There's a lot of communities coming together. You know, as we're on the internet all the time, we can reach people everywhere, but I think people are kind of coming back home. I think everyone's coming together. Like, I want to see you and hug you and high five and like be present with you. Yeah. I think that's 2019 Minneapolis. Be home.
Be home.
Be home.
That's it. Time home. Let's give it up for Matt for this section. Yes!
I knew that was going to happen. I just felt it. I saw that before. All that, dude.
Dude, we had lunch with Matt yesterday. Joel and I did.
Yeah.
And this is what I told Joel after you left. I said, Matt won me over in about 5 minutes and then repeatedly won me over every 3 minutes, like 50 times over the course of like an hour and 20, including his even goodbye. I was just like, dang, I love that guy.
Bro. Yeah. You know, it's weird. You know, I'm gonna add into that too. It's like, you know, sometimes when you go into a meeting, you have a lot of energy, you're ready, you're juiced, you're well prepared, and you have a feeling when you go into the meeting that I'm gonna be depleted, I'm gonna be so drained of energy when I leave. When I had lunch with these guys, like I left with more energy than when I arrived with. So you guys, thanks for doing that.
Okay, guys, we have one last 12-minute segment, and it is simply questions and answers from y'all. Okay? So we're going to open it up, and we are going to take some question and answers from you guys. And they could be questions about snowboarding, they could be questions about business ownership, nonprofit ownership, form, how to carve and just shred the absolute hardest. This guy would be the guy to ask. So open it up to questions from you guys.
So you get the full day to snowboard. Are you riding a pipe all day, or rails all day, or jumps all day? You can only pick one.
Of those three,
Yeah.
I can't pick carving.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good one.
If
Fair
I
enough.
couldn't pick carving, I'd be in the pipe.
Okay.
I'd rip some pipe, for sure. But if I could go anywhere, I'd just carve. Throw some music on.
Yeah.
Get a stiff board. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nothing better. There's freedom, complete freedom. I feel like an eagle when I snowboard.
Dude,
Totally, straight up.
we were talking about just being up on the mountain yesterday, heading to lunch, and we were just talking about how there's no place on earth where you're just more carefree, more in the pocket, and more just inspired than just when you're on the slopes, cruising down.
Oh yeah,
And that's
good.
it.
It's good.
Maybe we should all, right now, head over to the hill for you to be with you for your day 10.
Yeah. Anytime you guys, seriously, anytime you guys want to go snowboard, I'll go. I have to get to 100 somehow.
Brennan.
Top 3 albums this year.
Top 3 albums?
Or something.
Gosh, I only listen to like old punk. I don't even. Punk and Drublick. No effects, Punk and Drublick. Yeah, that'd probably be number 1. You know, I actually kind of gotten back into a little weird pop punk, like Dookie from Green Day.
Yeah!
Get into that.
Yes.
Jeez. And you know what? Sorry, it's not this year. I'd probably say Nas, man. Greatest rapper alive. I don't care what anybody says. Nas, East Coast? East Coast over West, all day.
No matter.
Yeah.
No matter.
Oh, Nas,
Dang.
for life. God's son.
Please.
Yeah.
Do you have like a major like failure or like learning?
Yes,
learning
tons of
moment
them.
that like steered you into like your successful path that like launched you.
Right.
Like that?
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot. But I think that's good. You know, it's like every time I mess up, I'm like, oh, well, that sucked. Better not do that again. One was unwise counsel. That was the biggest thing. Kind of trusting someone with books, you know, and yeah, that'd be one. I'm sorry, I can't really get into too specifics, but having unwise counsel when it came to doing the books of the business is like keep your eye on stuff. Sure, it's really good to trust people, but now I'm a little bit more like keep my eye on stuff. That'd be the first thing. The second thing was I stayed in a coaching program that I didn't agree with the philosophy with for a decade. Like before I started Visual Eating Thrash Camp, like this program started to do things that didn't align with helping the riders achieve their best, and it was just for a profit. I understand you have to keep the doors open, but as soon as your service doesn't benefit the customer anymore, that's an issue. I did that. I kind of swayed my moral compass to the side because I was getting paid decent money, and I stayed within a program for way too long. Yep.
So when you felt disheartened or continuously had moments of failure, what was the thought process or what was your process to get out of that and kind of keep going?
Right. Yep. Good. That's an awesome question. For the first example, call the person out. Say, explain this, and this in the books, and the person was taken aback and kind of just like decided not to agree, and then with some of the other business partners decided to resign and step away because we were kind of like putting a little bit of pressure on. That's what we did. You know, put a little pressure on for the person to explain some things. And then the second thing with like staying in the program, what did I do? Started Visual Eating Thrash Camp. Yeah, I saw a couple of things. I wanted to do some trampoline work, and yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I just so badly don't want to be a kook. What advice do you have to not be a kook?
Not be a kook? Just don't try. Oh God, that's tough. Tough one, man. Not be a kook. Jeez.
They still showed up.
Yeah,
Even
not be a kook. It's tough because like, if you have intentions to not be a kook, then you could fall into that poser category, you know, because you don't want to look like you know what you're doing and not be able to actually know what you're doing.
Right.
You know, I think just own it. Maybe, like if you're a kook, just claim it.
Yes! No, bro! I'm so ready.
What's been your favorite moment in your snowboarding career?
Favorite moment in my snowboarding career? Whoa, gosh. You know, there's a couple. Actually, there's a lot of them. I think anytime a kid lands a trick for the first time is like a little piece of that, even if it's a little 360 at Highland, there's something special about that. When a rider kind of gets paid to snowboard, that feels really good. I saw one of my close friends this is in like 2000, a while back. He was at the time one of the only 3 guys to do a double wildcat in the pipe, Rungy. And like I remember watching it. This is kind of my realization, and when I decided to be a coach, I was like, I will never be able to do that. Like, I'm gonna be a coach. But that was like kind of one of them. And another one, I did a contest in Utah, and my family flew out, and my family flew out, and my dad was just like, he was like, I'm so proud of you, and that moment just like felt so good. Like, I know my dad has always been proud of me and the things that I've done, but it's like being kind of there in my element and doing well at the contest, like that was pretty dope. Yep.
Do you live in Minnesota?
Yes, I live in Bloomington.
It's
nice.
Yeah. If snowboarding is like your deal, and Minnesota is pretty flat, why do you live in Minnesota?
That's an awesome question. I ask myself that constantly. Yeah. And no, the reason is family. I think a while back I had kind of like two aspirations. The first one was to try to be a U.S. Olympic coach, and I worked up to like the junior U.S. team, and that was nice. Again, helping out in camps and a couple of national or international contests, but that was about it. But I decided to stay home. And it must have been in like 2004 or so. I was part of a masterminds group, and I kind of had set the tone of an intention to do international snowboard camps. And Minneapolis is a great community with lots of snowboarders where I can kind of use that as a catalyst to like go on. And that's why. Again, with that being said, like I don't know, it's hard for me to choose to be part of large snowboard organizations now that don't make snowboarding accessible, and that's kind of one reason I've kind of stepped away from coaching at large scale contests. And I don't think I would not be able to do what I do here in Minnesota, say in Summit County or Pacific Northwest, or yeah. Yep, good question. Nate.
I want to know what's next. Is there anything that you're looking forward to, or goals that you have for the future that you can talk about?
Yeah, definitely. First, I want to say thank you for saying that magazine thing. So Nate, last time you spoke, he said if you don't know what you're passionate about, go to Barnes and Noble and find 5 magazines that you're stoked on, and like, yeah, that helped. What was your question?
What's next? What do you
What's
think
next?
about the future?
What's next? I think going a little bit larger with Thrash Camp. We have a lot of people that want to help, and I'd like to be able to kind of like, I'd like to do multiple camps on multiple weekends, at the same time where I don't always have to be there. I almost kind of like want to clone myself to lead camps and do that, and there's a lot of people that have the power to do that. That'd be the big thing. And then with the house, like with thehouse.com, like marketing director Kermit Boyum's here. Thanks for showing up. It's just like taking the house to try to the next level. We have a unbelievable community from the house, staff members. There's so many talented people, and we were just acquired about a year ago. Yeah, we were acquired by Camping World Holdings, kind of a private firm, and I think they see the talent that we have, and they're beginning to give us a platform to like launch off of. So I think taking the house to like another level.
Great.
First of all, you're a phenomenal speaker.
Thank you. As I sit here, and I was was trying to read the crowd. I'm like, fuck. I'm on number 5. I have 11 cards. I've been sleeping right now. Seriously.
We were entranced.
Was I? All right.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
But as you spoke about this group of people who are leaders, business people, entrepreneurs, in giving back to the community through mentorship?
Ooh, how to give back through mentorship?
Like why or what it'll do and stuff like that.
Sure. Okay, I can go off that. First, I think success. I think we could start with success. Like everyone wants to be successful, but one thing I look at success with is you find success in significance, the things that you do, being part of your industry, being fully involved. You may not get paid for it, but if you're involved, like people will come and people will come under your wing, and I think mentorship is you almost have to do it, because if you have a philosophy, if you believe in a way of life, that's you. That's you. And if you believe so strongly in whatever it is you believe in, you have to, like, if people ask, like, what should I do? How should I act? What kind of choices should I make? I think that's important to, like, kind of mentorship is important for you to share who you are with other people. Like, the snowboard community has so many great mentors. Like, there's so many industry people, like, above me that I look up to, and like, God, I can go to them with any questions and get them. I think it's important. Does that answer your question? Cool.
Come on. That's awesome.
I like that you guys say that. Come on.
No, dude, that's so good. And I just want to...
Come on.
Yeah.
Got one guy in front.
We're into the responses around here. That's it. That's it. It's another one, like, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. Ooh. Jeff, last question?
No, I'm done. I'm gonna go.
Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Hey.
Tell us behind your philosophy and why you make every kid who comes down the pipe or the park say they have to claim it. When they come
They have to claim it?
They have to claim it.
Oh, you gotta claim it.
We go to like comps, and you made every kid claim it.
Dude, absolutely.
Why?
This is why. You have to claim. A claim is in a contest, a snowboard contest setting, is after the rider crosses over the finish line and like claims it, like, hell yeah, I did it. That's a claim. Sometimes if you're doing street snowboarding, you're hitting a rail, you kind of battle a trick for a long time, like you stomp. Sometimes street snowboarders don't really claim stuff, but like usually they're like, you can tell, like, hell yeah, I did it. In contest snowboarding, it's a way to signify to the judges, to make them think that what you did was a good thing. So, like I was talking about contest runs earlier, like, say you screw up, you don't go with the flow, you kind of like, you mess up your run. You can totally blow it in your own mind. And you can get to the bottom of the hill, you can take your helmet off and throw it on the ground, or you can look at the judges and go, hell yeah, I just did that. And they, like, I swear, you can see contest points fluctuate on people claiming it. You watch Shaun White, you know what he does? Single-hand claim every single time. Even if not if he screws up all the time, but dude, every time, claim it. You gotta claim life, you know?
Can we all just raise and claim it right now?
Dude,
boom.
Claim it.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks,
and
man.
my little summary while the music is sort of closing me out and sort of walking us out here is, as Honest Media, we have two overarching values. First one is excellence and passion to be the best at what you do, but the second is to use your influence and your talents for others and not for personal gain. And bro, when you just like get teary-eyed about the dudes that you've poured into, you put it on display for us, man. What it's like to live your life, to impact other people, love other people, and I feel like we're all freshly commissioned tonight to go love other people, pour into people, mentor people. Thank you so much. Can we all give it up for Matt?
Yeah.